I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of Jay Taylor's Gold Energy and Tech Stocks and also host the radio show called Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum. It's September 6, 2017, and I'm really pleased to be with Gary Thompson. He is the chairman and CEO of a very interesting company called Brixton Metals. Do I have that right? Brixton Metals.
Yes,
right?
Brixton Metals Corporation.
Brixton Metals Corporation, to be perfectly square about it. So you have, one of the most phenomenal drill holes that I've seen this year, or maybe for past several years, 554 meters, I believe, of something like 1.97 gold equivalent grams per ton.
That's correct.
Pretty amazing. It was a vertical hole.
Yeah.
And I know, but you have sniffs of what you believe, quite sure is a porphyry deposit, perhaps a very large scale gold, copper porphyry deposit. Talk to us a little bit about that. What are your plans going forward now that you have this vertical hole? How do you explore this deep target?
Yeah, so the idea was, and we modeled this thing up and we looked at other analogs around the world. Mm-hmm. We said, what is this thing? What is this thing that we're working on? And one of the deposits that stands out to us was a project in the Philippines. It's called Far Southeast. Mm-hmm. And they had this diatreme breccia zone. And they had these mineralized porphyry fragments in the diatreme, which is what we're just starting to see that now with this deep hole. We had drilled this area before, but not this deep.
Not so deep, yeah.
And we're just starting to see these fragments. So what kind of lights up for us is like, well, this thing looks like Far Southeast. What is Far Southeast? Well, it's a deep, high-grade copper-gold porphyry. It's 43 million ounces of gold equivalent.
Wow.
So that's a target worth chasing. And how they found it was they got onto this diatreme that had these mineralized fragments, and they chased it down and led them into the porphyry. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Mm-hmm. And not only do we have this diatreme, we think we have a second one. We actually accidentally were drilling in 2011 and tagged into some of it. So we think we have more than one diatreme, but also we've got these high-grade, high-sulfidation veins that are gold, copper, and silver-rich veins. And we see those kind of veins, these high sulfidation veins, typically on top of porphyry systems.
Okay.
So we've got all these indications that suggest we have a porphyry, and the question is, well, where is it, and how deep do we have to drill to get it? And what we're doing now is we're doing about a 20+ kilometer deep seeing IP MT survey.
So you know what your target
We're looking at a kilometer to kilometer and a half depth. That's kind of the target we think we're at. And of course, once we get that survey done, then we're gonna plug some holes into that. Right now, we're drilling. We have 2 drills turning, and they're drilling, I think, no shallower than 500 meters down to a kilometer plus. But what's interesting is we not only have that target, which is a large-scale porphyry target. We have another large-scale porphyry target called the Chivas zone. So we have the Camp Creek corridor, which is around the area. We have the veins and the high sulfidation veins and the diatreme. We drilled that. Half a kilometer hole. So we have this other target that we've worked up since about 2014. We think we're on a new discovery. We call it the Chivas zone, and it represents a large-scale copper-gold porphyry system on its own. So we actually have 2 drills on that right now. We're drilling deep holes on that. And right now we've had it mapped to about 3.5 kilometers of strike as well. So that's very encouraging for us. We've got basically 2 large-scale targets that we're excited to drill test, and we'll be drilling until the end of the season here, and we'll obviously see what the truth machine tells us we're getting, and go from there.
Sure. Do you see the same geology? Does it look similar to the first? Are you drilling down?
There's some similarities. I wouldn't say we're not seeing the high sulfidation nature that we see at the Camp Creek corridor. That's a little bit different. In fact, we did some drilling in this Chivas area in 2017, but it was largely on, actually we didn't recognize it was a porphyry here. We actually thought it was something more like a Cripple Creek in Colorado, because we're getting a fair amount of tellurium in the soils with the gold. And so we were actually chasing the gold there and said, well, this is a big gold anomaly. What do we have here? But after we drilled it, we realized that these, where the gold's probably coming from, at least on that part of the system, were these more epithermal style polyphase breccias. That seems to be the case. So what we recognize is now is that we're still fairly high up in the system, and the epithermal part of the system, so we need to go deeper down. And so that's what we're doing now, is we're going to say, okay, we know there's epithermal signature up here, and probably there's some overprint, which is confusing the story geochemically for us. But that's our job, is to figure that out. So now we're drilling basically into the guts of it at depth, and certainly these holes I think are going to help tell the story.
These angle holes?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're not drilling. I'm not sure how many vertical holes we're drilling per se, because structurally, I mean, most deposits have some structural control to them. So if you're always drilling vertical holes, you potentially could miss vertical structures if they're steep structures. So we tend to at least have some angle to them, at least initially, until we sort it out. So so we're pretty excited about the program. This would be the largest campaign that the Thorne project has ever seen.
Well, you're looking at elephant-size projects.
Yes.
And if you start to hit something, the truth machine is kind to you. And is truthful to you. Well, we're looking for the right answers.
Yes, that's right.
Mother Nature will. That's why it's called the truth machine, and we'll be looking forward to results and how soon might we get those from this Thorne property, which is one of only several properties, but one of two that you're focused on. But how soon might we get some answers from the truth machine?
Well, I guess I'm hoping in the next few weeks we should start to see some results trickle out. And once they start rolling, then it's going to be a bit of a continuous flow, probably to the end of the year. But the labs, I think, when we got in early in the year, when we had the whole 150 that came out, we were getting results turned around in 10 to 12 days, which is remarkable from the lab. But we've seen a bit of a longer delay now that a lot of competitors are getting samples into the lab.
So that's the Thorne and the Atlin, and both the Thorne and the Atlin are in the upper northwestern corner of British Columbia. So what about the Atlin, which I think might have been almost a favorite target of yours before you hit this massive?
Yeah, it was. It was, I guess, starting the year, we saw sort of the gold market starting to pick up, and we thought, well, gee, we got this great gold target, let's go and get at it, which is the old historic placer camp called the Atlin gold fields, and they've been mining there for 120 years. Lots of placer, and in fact, they're still mining there. And historically, there's some very impressive high-grade gold hits that have come out of there in the drilling, a work that was done in the 80s by Homestake. So we consolidated. It took us 2 years to consolidate about 1,000 square kilometers now that we control there. So we've been busy. We set up a new camp this year, and I think we drilled about 22 holes, collected a lot of soil samples and rock sampling. It's still fairly early days for us, but we're anticipating results to come out on that project pretty much any time as well. That's really a pure play gold story, high grade gold, road accessible. It ticks a lot of boxes for us, but it's our first year drilling there, so I'm not expecting to crack the code this year. But I think with some continued success and persistence and perseverance, which I think we're known for, I think we'll have some joy there as well. But small company can't do everything. But we do have other assets that have a lot of silver in them. We have the Hog Heaven asset in Montana, a very silver-rich system, and we have the silver asset in Langus in Ontario, which is also very silver-rich. And we drilled some very high-grade silver, multi-kilos over multi-meters last year, and we just got a big yawn from the market. So
it's crazy.
And it's cheap drilling out there. So we're thinking, maybe over the winter we could plug some high-grade silver, and because the good thing about northern BC, there's lots of mineralization. The challenging part is what do you do in the winter? So we have some optionality at least on that. Right.
Might you look at a couple of those other properties if things really go well at Thorne, as maybe monetizing those at some point?
Exactly.
It depends, I'm sure.
At the end of the day, we're trying to unlock value for shareholders, so we absolutely would look to try and monetize these things. If we could sell them, JV them, how can we add value to our shareholders? That's what we're trying to do here. Right.
And to give an idea, who are some of the major shareholders of your company?
Well, most recently we just closed on $7.8 million financing, and that was led by Mr. Eric Sprott. He put in $4 million, so he's just under 20%. Mr. Rob McEwen is also a large shareholder. We've got Hecla Mining and Pan American Silver, and of course management has skin in the game. So
that's good.
I think we've got a good, strong shareholder base, and we'll obviously look to continue to build on that.
So I guess to sort of sum it up here, we're really looking for drill holes from Thorne. And then following up, we'll have some drill results from Atlin.
That's correct, yeah. It's
So
going to be
a lot.
Atlin. Atlin, I think we'll probably have a batch coming out on Atlin sooner. And Thorne will continue the results basically towards the end of the year, I think.
Very exciting time, Gary.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
I was in
We're-
your office a few years ago when it was gloom and doom for this industry. And then I saw that 554 meter intersection. Wow, I said, I have to go out and buy some. Unfortunately, I was at my computer and I said, go
When it
get
hit
it.
the market.
Go get it. And I was so happy. And
Yeah.
it's, but
No, it's
I
been
think
exciting.
now we're going to see, yeah, we'll wait for the truth machine. And,
Yeah, well, we're starting to see some interest in the sector in general, so we're happy to see that come back and coming into our game, I think.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
We'll really be watching you very closely and keeping my subscribers up to date, that's for sure.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Gary.
All right,
All
very
the best.
good.
All the best to you.
Thank you.